Flag pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Planning Commission public hearing for November 14th. I have a few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in at the door if you've not already done so, and that's right over on the clipboard on the table. There you will also find a detailed handout of the step-by-step procedure we will follow tonight if you wish to take one. Please put any electronic devices on silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. You have it recording? Okay. Members of the Planning Commission are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners with one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Surface staff is here to assist the Planning Commission with its duties. The task of the Planning Commission is to hold a public hearing and make a recommendation to the County Board of Commissioners for approval or denial of requests for conditional and interim use permits, rezones, plats, and ordinance amendments in accordance with state law and county ordinance. The burden of approving a request meets the criteria for approval rests with the applicant. There is a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each request on the agenda, we will hear a staff report, hear testimony from the applicants, and then we will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I will ask if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this request. I will ask each party to come to the podium, that's that one right up there in the corner, to state their name and address for the record and give their testimony. Please be as factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to me, the chair. After all testimony is completed, I will close the public hearing portion of the process, and then we will answer your questions that you presented at that time. The Planning Commission will then review and discuss the case in terms of our findings of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We will have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made, then there will be a final motion to recommend approval or denial to the County Board of Commissioners. After this final vote on your request, you may leave if you wish. The County Board of Commissioners will then consider the request and our recommendation at their next regular meeting and will either grant or deny the request. So tonight we have 2 agendas on the planning side here, and the first one is going to be BS Storage, Ben Schultz, if you'd want to come up here. So we have BS Storage, Ben Schultz, 2149 Highway 27, Swanville. Application for conditional use permit to add a 45 by 144 foot mini storage building on an existing storage facility site located in point of northwest quarter of Section 20, Township 129, Range 31, Caldrum Township. So at this time, Ben, would you want to state your name for the record?
Ben Schultz.
Okay, thank you. I guess at this time, Darren, you ready with staff report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Section 604.5 of the Morrison County Land Use Control Ordinance requires a conditional use permit or CUP for storage rental facilities. This is a plat drawing of Caldrum Township with the red dot showing the location of the request. The application that we received submitted here. This is the view from Beacon with a drawing showing the proposed addition on the far left-hand side of the picture. So this is a 6.75 acre parcel. The property is on the corner of 2 state highways, Highway 27 running east and west, and Highway 28 running north and south. Access to the facility is off of Highway 27 using the existing entrance. A conditional use permit was granted in 2015 to establish a mini storage facility with up to 5 buildings. Since the issuance of the CUP, the applicant has had a discussion with MnDOT regarding the right-of-way and how wide it is and what they claim to the corner of Highway 27 and Highway 28. MnDOT agreed to reduce their right-of-way and deeded the excess to VS Storage LLC. So this is kind of a visual of that. The left-hand picture is what the right-of-way was. The right-hand picture is what was then deeded back to the applicant. A variance was granted in October 2023 to encroach 20 feet into the setback of the right-of-way with the proposed building. The Board of Adjustment expressed concern with the ability for traffic to move around a 60-foot building without driving within the state highway right-of-way. A representative from MnDOT staked that right-of-way and clarified that the right-of-way must stay clear and unobstructed. The applicant has provided a site drawing and photos depicting the proposed layout. The driveway around the 6th building is possible without extending into the road right-of-way. So we'll have a drawing here. You can see the red line is the right-of-way. The kind of the pinkish colors there depicts the new building, along with the proposed setbacks on there as well. So just kind of zoomed in a little bit. Again, showing the 20 feet on the closest point there on the northwest corner, excuse me, and then the rest of the setbacks being more than that. So this is a picture from the closest or the furthest west building currently. This is the right-of-way stakes that were put out by MnDOT. A view from kind of the corner intersection. This would be that sharp, straight corner line showing backwards towards the structures. And that's the last picture that was submitted. So the property across from Highway 27 to the north is zoned commercial. The 12-Mile Tavern is currently operating on that property. Across the Highway 28 to the west is zoned commercial as well. There's an apartment complex operating on that property. The other surrounding property is all zoned agriculture, and agricultural uses are established on all of those parcels. So this is showing that 12-Mile Tavern to the north and the apartment complex to the west, and then ag all around that. Land Service staff recommends the condition from the existing CUP to continue on this CUP if approved. So this was established back in 2015 with this condition, so this would just be a carryover of that condition. And that is no outdoor storage shall occur on site except for up to 4 personal operable licensed vehicles may be stored outside. Objectives from the comprehensive plan and ag, goal A1 and goal A2. I won't read these. Certainly if you want me to, let me know. Local economic development, goal C1 and objective 8. Goal C2 with objective 1 and 2. Objectives 4, 7, and 19 as well. 15 notices were sent out and no comment was received prior to the public hearing. And these are your conditional use criteria questions. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Darren. Guess at this time, Ben, would you have anything to add to the staff report?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. So I guess this time we'll open up to the Planning Commission. If any of you guys have any questions for either staff or the applicant, now's the time. Brent,
Chair.
go ahead.
Maybe Darren or Ben can answer this. My question is, just for clarification, in 2015, this was approved for 5 buildings. Is that 4th building on there actually 2 buildings, or?
Yeah, there was 2 building permits pulled for the bigger building, the far west one.
Okay, because as you look at it, it's 4, so this would be 5, but actually that's a double building in there?
Yep.
Okay, I remember that from the visit out there before, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Dave.
just a clarification on the placement of the building, the driveway. At the variance hearing public hearing, it seemed like there was no room for a driveway on the west end. Have you moved the building closer to the existing building, the new building?
Yeah, I think we had a 12-foot setback, or
Darren, maybe we could go back to that.
Absolutely.
changed it from a 12-foot off of the furthest west existing building to a 9-foot off of there.
The sketch, I think would be the best,
Yep. That's fine.
that one, yeah, I think so. Okay. So the east end of the building was moved how far? To
3 feet east is what I moved the proposed building from
Okay.
when we talked the first time.
okay, and so the distance between the buildings now will be,
It'd be 9 feet,
okay,
and that's, I left a little bit extra for, there's a little bit more than that, but I left a little bit extra just for air, I guess.
okay. And on that northwest corner, you have 20 feet.
Yep.
Okay, is that adequate for all of the traffic that goes around there to stay off of the right-of-way?
Yeah, it should be. If a bigger vehicle were to go around there, they could swing wide before or after the corner. Because, you can see it gets quite a bit wider once you get further south.
Right,
along
just
there.
on the corner there, you've got a mere 20 feet. I assume 10 feet of roadway, 5 feet on either side? That's pretty standard for a road, a one-way road, 10 feet?
The gravel's gonna be 20 feet on the corner.
20 feet of gravel around the corner?
Yep,
So you're proposing the whole thing will be a driveway on that corner?
yes, yep.
Okay. So how will you keep traffic from going over onto the right-of-way? With that, I mean, you've got no defined road that is at least, 5 or 10 feet from the right-of-way.
Sure, I guess, not really sure how I would do that.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah,
You could crest the road on that northwest corner so that they aren't likely to go over the edge. But then you might be building into the right-of-way to do that.
yeah, because we kind of want to, we don't want to disturb we don't want to, when we come through and do the
So you don't
grading,
really have a good plan to keep traffic off of the right-of-way.
a person could put a fence there, but I would worry about that becoming a snow fence and then snowmobiles hitting fence posts. But that would be an option.
Okay, that's my questions for now, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead, Marv.
a few things. Did you decrease the size of the building, or is it the same size building you proposed and just shifted it?
Same size, I just shifted it 3 feet.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. So also, we talked about it before, and there's that Connex box in there, and you said you were going to remove that, and I see it's still there. Is that what the plan is here?
Yep, that's the plan.
Okay. And then I also read that you're assuming that this additional storage would only increase it by 1 car per day traffic. That's all you're assuming, so it's not going to be a whole lot more traffic. Is that correct?
Right, yep, there's not much traffic.
Okay. Yeah, one other, when you came for the variance, I was hoping that there would be a representative or someone from the DOT or a letter stating, and did you get anything additional? Because you were saying it's really tough to get a hold of them. And
Yeah, so I called them personally and tried to get somebody here, and that's like talking to a wall, kind of. But Amy was emailing them, and she CC'd me on the emails, and so she had further talk with them to clarify that it would be okay. So I'm not sure if those emails are available tonight or not. I was kinda expecting her here, I guess.
So Sharon, do you have anything on the record of that, that they were okay with it other than what he had?
I do not, but my understanding is as long as nothing is in the road right of way in terms of the road or the shed, they seemed okay. That was my understanding in talking, but I don't have an email or anything to confirm that. But as long as nothing was in the road right of way, they were okay with it.
Okay. That, I just wanted to reaffirm that, so thank you very much.
Marv, if you go back to, if you think back to when we had that variance thing for this, we did have a letter from the DOT, and that's what it was stating, what Darren just said. Anything after that, I don't know anything either, so.
Yeah. And it wasn't very detailed, there wasn't a whole lot being said there, and that's why my big concern is the safety and people flying up 28 to 27 there and not having an accident because of a larger building. And if they're fine with the road right away being enough there, not contributing to an accident, fine. But that was my biggest concern of this whole thing.
Yeah, yep, and I guess I could have printed, maybe should have printed those emails out looking at it, but they basically just further clarified that, just like he said, that they're fine with it as long as it's not encroaching into the right of way. And talked to them on the phone and they're more than fine with it again, but trying to get somebody here I didn't get anywhere, I guess. They just said they'd have somebody call me and nobody ever called.
Okay.
Okay, so Ben, when we were looking, I think when we seen the other snapshot, the ground view, and in that corner, basically, they're just cutting that corner by about 5 feet roughly, because you have your gravel right to the edge except for that corner. Okay, so if you'd go in, probably would you be fine with a condition that just in that corner, if you put 3 posts in the ground,
Yep,
close enough together that the cars can't go through it, or 4, maybe you need 4, I don't know how long that corner is.
Yep.
Put them in there so that the cars can't go around that corner, okay, so they know where the corner is.
yep,
Don't worry about snowmobiles, because then they'd be driving on private property, so if they hit one, that's their own problem, as far as I'm concerned, but whatever.
pretty good at that,
But-
yeah.
That's my opinion, but
Yep,
you'd be fine with a condition, if we put a condition in it, you'd have to post that corner.
yep, I could definitely do that.
Okay. And I would recommend that it be like some steel posts, not like round ones, not just a T-post, you know,
Yep,
and then paint them, and I think you'd be fine. And they don't have to
Yeah.
be that tall, that way that don't hinder any more of the view. They could be just 3-4 feet, just so cars don't go there.
right, yep,
Okay, so you'd be fine if we put that in as a condition.
yep, I could
Okay.
definitely do that.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions for the applicant or staff?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Dave.
back to the diagram here on the slide. You've got 45 by 144. Does the 45 feet include overhangs?
Yeah, so there'll be virtually no overhang on the building. Cause I'll probably go with a metal structure. So, yeah, if there's 45 is being generous, so if there's a 2-inch overhang, I think, yeah, it might be closer to 47 feet on the setback, so it'll be outside of 45 for sure, yes.
I didn't follow 47. What does that mean?
Right now, he has 45-foot setback on this drawing.
Sure.
So basically, he's saying his building's gonna be about 142. So it's gonna be 47-foot setback instead of, he's just talking the opposite of what you're thinking.
Yeah, I was talking building, he was talking setback.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, okay,
Yep, so it'll be
so you've got
outside of
a full 20 feet there
yes,
and no overhang to deal with
correct.
and a sidewall of what height?
The max sidewall height would be 11 feet.
So there should be plenty of clearance for vehicles
Yes, yep,
carrying a tall load, a higher load.
yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if that, if the post will do the job, but It's better than nothing. And a green strip in between there would be helpful too, and encouraged.
Sure. Okay.
And maybe the commissioners have some even better ideas, and we'll have some more by the time they meet.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to cause anything either, so, if I see trouble happening or whatever, if you, down the
Go back
road,
to that picture.
I'll do whatever I gotta do to keep them out of there, so.
Yeah, you should be a little better at your planning, though. You're not a detailed guy, obviously.
Yeah, I guess, not really. Sorry about that.
Okay, so on this picture here, you can see where your corner is. If you take that gravel out on this side of them stakes, get that back into grass and put post in, you probably need 4 so the cars can't drive between them, or 5, whatever it is. That's what I'm gonna condition that. But if you take out that gravel there too, that'll help get some grass growing right there again.
Yep, and that's part of the plan.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else? Any other questions?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Brent.
Just one other thing with the storage shed off to the side, that, we talked about that at the last meeting, that the plan is for that to be removed from the site?
Yep. I guess I'm trying to find somebody to move that for me. So before the building's built, so next spring is my plan to move that.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead,
just
Dave.
to clarify, that's an unpermitted structure, correct? I mean,
guess
you've
I
got
don't know.
permission for,
I guess
for
I
the
can-
buildings that are there, but that one was not permitted.
Yeah,
I
guess
think
it's more-
Amy
it's more of a
clarified that
temporary-
last time.
Sure. Yep. So I
So
gotta get out.
it's in violation now of, I mean, at least you don't have a permit for it. And I don't know if you could get one for it. Because I think it's in the right of way. I don't know.
It's not in the right way, but I can get it moved sooner, I guess, if that's.
Okay, something to think about.
I'll try to get it moved this year yet.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the planning commission? If not, we'll open it up to the public right now. So we'll open this portion of the meeting up to the public. If anybody has anything to speak towards this applicant, please go up to the podium in the corner. Any public comment? I have to ask 3 times, so I'll ask for the 3rd time. Any public comment? Hearing no public comment, we'll close this portion of the meeting to the public. You guys have anything else? You're ready to go to the criteria questions? Go ahead, Brent.
Just one thing further, maybe we should condition that be removed. It should be maybe a 3rd condition, because if it's not permitted to be there, it should be addressed by us at this point moving forward before anything else happens. So it's not tucked behind or put someplace else. If it's not allowed to be there, it shouldn't be there.
Should have a date with that too.
Prior to construction. I mean, prior to this moving forward, should it pass? It would seem. I mean, if it can get out of there sooner, if you've got a place for it to go where it's, allowed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, before this would move forward, I would think that would be something you would want addressed.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Go
prior
ahead.
to permit issuance, might be an easy one for us to be on site and see it.
Then it's insured, and
That's what
verified. I would suggest that as a 3rd condition.
What were the other 2?
The post that you recommended, and then the
Yes.
continuing original from 2015 carrying forward that was
Oh.
recommended by Amy.
Yep, you're
That would
right.
be 3.
Yep,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead, Mark.
I think it would be advantageous that maybe Darren could read, or you could read the conditions that were put in place back in, was it 2015? And I believe there was like no outdoor storage and like 4 licensed vehicles. Yeah. And I thought there was okay, there it is. So I can read them off too here. No outdoor storage shall occur on the site except up to 4 personal operable licensed vehicles may be stored outdoors. I thought there was something else, but that was it. Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Dave.
In order to answer, one of these questions on the groundwater, surface water, I think this is a very long slope. It's not a big property, but it's a very long slope. And it all slopes from the west to the east, going straight down towards the swamp. And you've got a waterway on the north side and a waterway on the south side, correct? Mm-hmm. And so I think an updated stormwater plan would be advisable. That's a long ways. You're adding another 144 feet of watershed, and I don't know that he has enough dumping spots along the way to prevent, a buildup of water in a big rain event. So I would propose a stormwater plan approved by Land Services.
Mr. Chair, can I make a remark?
Go ahead, Marv.
As when we were out there, before we approved the variance, we looked at the property, and I got to admit that he's did a great job with preventing erosion, and it looked like it was, said a great job of controlling what he has now there.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess what we have, before we go on to our criteria questions, we had 4 conditions. One is putting them posts in the corner on that angle, in that corner to 20-foot setback. Move the Connex building before permitting. The conditions that were stated from 2015, and an updated stormwater plan before permit.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Dave.
should there be a date on those posts? Is that, during construction, I assume construction has to stay out of the right of way also.
Yep.
So perhaps the post should
Before
be,
permit, just like the rest of them before permit.
I would think so,
Yep.
yeah. So that means that you'd probably have to have that contoured and
Sure.
the grass in place and et cetera.
Yep.
And you're planning when to build?
Next summer.
Sure, so you have plenty of time to do that.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so them are the conditions you guys keep in mind as we're going through this. So we have no John tonight. Okay, so question 1, I'll start with Marvin. The use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools.
I don't believe it will, and the reason why, here with the conditions we already put on, and it's an existing site, and he's just adding a building to it, and this additional building, he stated will only increase traffic flow about 1 car per day, so that isn't a tremendous amount. It's a good facility, it's right on Highway 27, 28, so it's just commercial all around it. So I feel it will not put any burdens to it. My only concern, and I stated it over and over, was about obstruction from traffic coming on 28 to 27 there and going through and creating an accident. But as he had stated, numerous conversations with the DOT, they had no problem with it.
Anybody else have anything to add to question 1?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Dave.
I'd just like to add that if the driveway and all of the participants in this rental facility stay clear of the right-of-way, it should not add an excessive burden to the roadways, to the highways, as stated by MnDOT themselves. So staying clear, being out of that zone is imperative to answering this question, yes. And I assume this would be, at the time of permitting, it would be inspected, those posts and et cetera. So yeah. The applicant is a little fuzzy on some details, so reaffirming those would be very important for me to say yes to this.
Okay. Move on to question 2.
Oh, sorry. Nothing.
We didn't vote yet. Question 2, the request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant area. I'll take this one. I believe it's not detrimental. We got some commercial zoning in 2 of the 4 corners, and then the rest is ag. And there's already storage buildings on this property. He's just adding one more. There's been talked about safety aspect of it. But when you look at it on that corner, even though they deeded back some of the road right-of-way, that road right-of-way in that corner is still way bigger than what a normal road right-of-way is. I'm not exactly sure the distance from the right-of-way, but he's 45 feet away from the right-of-way, and if he has another 45-foot right-of-way, that's 90 feet. I'm gonna say that's gonna be 120 feet or somewhere like that, so people are gonna be able to see, so I don't think that'll impede anybody that way. It's all been there, it's a neat kept facility, so I don't think it'll hurt any development or improvements from anybody else in the immediate vicinity. Anybody else have anything to add to question 2? If not, we'll move on to question 3. The use and opinion of the Planning Commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. Brent?
Storage, as what is used on this land now is allowed in the ag district. This is ag land with a CUP for the storage units. It's continuing on doing that with reference to the groundwater, surface water. Condition 4 suggests the stormwater plan. With that stormwater plan being adequately addressed, I think we're addressing the groundwater and surface water. With respect to air quality, I don't know that there's any production of anything occurring with storage, so I don't think the air quality is going to be adversely affected by anybody with this proposed use.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Anybody have anything to add to question 3? If not, we'll move on to question 4. The use is consistent with the purpose of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Dave?
Okay, there was a CUP granted in 2015. This is just an expansion of that CUP. This is in ag, and mini storage is allowed. There's commercial use on 2 other corners in the area, so it's consistent with the neighborhood, with the look of things, which is also in ordinance. Respects ag land, it fits. And as long as again, answer to every one of these questions, as long as the right-of-way is respected as far as MnDOT is concerned, it fits.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything to add to question 4? Now we'll move to question 5. The use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Marvin?
Yes, and as the way I view it is, he's going to have an updated stormwater water management plan. He has done a great job in the existing site, and he will continue doing it. And here I also look at it as this is just continuing the existing CUP, so it's pretty consistent, and there should not be a problem with this.
Okay, thank you, Marv. Anybody have anything to add to question 5?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just like to add that all of the applicable comprehensive plan goals and objectives listed in the staff report are consistent with this plan. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you guys ready to vote with the conditions in mind?
Yes.
Okay, question 1. The use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools. Marvin?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Question 2, the request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant area. Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Question 3, the use and opinion of the planning commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Question 4, the use is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Question 5, the use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Marvin?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like all the questions were answered in affirmative, so I guess I would take a motion to recommend approval.
Mr. Chair, I move that we recommend this request be approved by the county board
With the conditions.
with the 4 conditions.
Okay, is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I would second that.
Okay. Motion made and seconded with the conditions to recommend approval to the County Board of Commissioners. All in favor say aye. Marvin?
Aye.
Brent?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Myself, Clint is aye. So, motion passes, so we'll recommend to the commissioners. They'll hear this on November 21st. So they'll make the final decision on that. So you can go to it if you want, you don't have to. I don't know what time it'll be, because they got a lot of things on the agenda, so. If you have any other questions between now and then, contact Land Services and they'll, help you as much as they can.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys very much.
Good luck with it.
Sign that. Just bear with us for a second, we got a ton of paperwork here. Okay, next on the agenda here, we have, get my sheet so I can read off. We have Kaiser Land Holdings LLC, Christopher Kaiser. If you want to please come up here, you go ahead. Located at 8776 130th Avenue, Little Falls. Application for conditional use permit to expand to a Tier 2 beef feedlot. Located in the point of northwest quarter of Section 19 and point of southwest quarter of Section 18, Township 128, Range 29, Swan River Township. If the applicant would want to state their names for the record, that'd be great.
Christopher Kaiser.
Ashley Kaiser.
Darren, you ready with staff report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So section 604.6 of the Morrison County Land Use Control Ordinance requires a conditional use permit for the establishment of feedlots. Section 1209 contains the performance standards for Tier 2 feedlots. This is a plat map of Swan River Township with the red dot showing the location of the feedlot. The application that was submitted, along with some aerial photos that were submitted. Another photo from an aerial photo view. Some of the setbacks from the county standards. These are the barn design plans, concept plans. This is a map showing the parcels owned. Here's an oblique imagery of the property. So the applicant owns 4 contiguous parcels of land for a total of 172.12 acres. A Tier 1, which is 50 to 300 animal units of beef feedlot, exist on the property. Total animal units subject to feedlot registration currently are 200. The applicant is proposing to expand to a Tier 2, that's 301 to 650 animal units. That's a beef feedlot through the construction of a 70 by 270 foot long beef finishing barn. The total proposed registration animal units after construction would be 360. The existing animal holding areas on the open lots contain non-compliant for runoff. Most of the cattle would be housed within a new barn with a liquid manure storage basin below, therefore abating the current pollution issue. Currently, the solid manure pen pack is field applied in the spring and fall, and the soils are suitable for stockpiling. Manure application, the applicant utilizes 319 acres. 169 spreadable acres are needed to utilize the nitrogen, and 294 acres are needed to utilize phosphorus. So a crop rotation must be used to avoid the buildup of phosphorus. The offset rating for the feedlot was at a 96%, including the additional cattle and barn. The applicant has submitted the following plans. The Morrison County Good Neighbor Plan. That indicates that the manure will be pumped once a year and incorporated within 24 hours. Pen pack is spread in spring and fall, and composting is and rendering are the animal mortality processes. For odor minimization, the plan identifies dispersal and mixing of air with tree plantings, maintenance of clean, dry floors, elimination of manure buildup, and prompt cleanup of spilled feed, and maintaining exhaust fans and the use of spray oil for odor minimization. From a stormwater, the plan identifies check dams, construction phasing, and minimizing soil disturbances for erosion prevention during construction. The applicant has been made aware that a water appropriations permit may be needed from the DNR. So agricultural zoning is the only district where new feedlots are allowed. The Morrison County Land Use Ordinance states the purpose of the ag zone is to promote and protect areas which have high-quality agricultural lands, and they are essentially rural in nature. Within this district, agricultural activities shall be given precedence over other uses. The Soil and Water Conservation District conducted an environmental review. Main comments and recommendations were the site is suitable for barn construction. However, a tile line may be needed to handle a perched water table. Enclosing the animals in an environmentally sound decision that will improve the conditions on site, and a 50-foot wide grass buffer around the new barn is recommended to help with erosion control. Land Service staff recommends the following conditions if approved. The property owner shall undertake necessary operational changes to comply with the open lot requirements. This shall be completed by the time the new barn is stocked, and the property owner shall arrange for the feedlot officer to evaluate the open lots to ensure compliance. And then the 50-foot wide buffer shall be planted and maintained around the new barn. The applicable comprehensive plan goals, again, I won't read them, but they're in your staff report from EG A1, Objective 1, Objective 4, and Objective 8. And then Goal A2, A3, and A4 with Objectives 1, 3. And then the water plan, or from our groundwater perspective, Goal 1 and 2. And from surface waters, goals with Objective A. From the land use and development side, ensure land use decisions are compatible with natural resource protection with Goal A, or Objective A, excuse me. "34 notices were sent and no comments were received prior to the hearing. And these are your conditional use criteria questions. And that's all I have for you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. The applicant have anything to add to the staff report at this time?
No.
Okay, we'll open it up to guys on the planning commission here. If you guys got any questions for staff or the applicant, Now's the time to ask.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Marvin.
for the record, our properties border one another, so they're neighbors to mine here. So I did get a notice, and I wanted that for the record. Also, here, aren't you like the third generation on the farm here? So how many years has this been in the Kaiser name?
I believe since the early 50s, I want to say 1952.
Okay, so it'd be a little bit, but you might have a century farm here down the road here shortly.
Yeah.
I've been on this farm numerous times. As you read Ellen's report, it's neat, it's clean. Well, you can drive in that yard anytime. They do a wonderful job, I will say that. And I think part of this, if I triggered this, and did you say with your open lot, you had some runoff and you wanted to do something by, that's,
Yeah.
can you make a comment versus that?
Yeah, the open lots they're just getting outdated. Dealing with the snow and the rain, every time it snows and rains, you gotta clean pens. Just access of bedding, just constantly cleaning. It's a lot of manpower, a lot of labor. I'm hoping that planning that this barn would take away a lot of that labor, decrease bedding costs and all the other kind of stuff, and just feeding animals outside. In this part of the world, it's tough to get gains. It's economically, it seems more sound to go and where you can control the environment a little bit in a shed, building, barn.
So I see the recommendation is that you need 294 acres for control the phosphorus. You have 319. Obviously, you got a neighbor that will buy some, as I have bought from others
Yeah.
in there. But anyhow, what I will also point out, when they haul manure, they work it in. You don't have a problem with them. When they say something, they do it. They also have a trucking firm, and I will say this, when they say they're gonna be on a time for a time slot or day, they're there. So their integrity is right there, and I just wanted to point it out. So I have no objection to this at all. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Marv. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dave.
In Alan's environmental review, under feedlot evaluation, the current operation did not receive a compliant rating. And I think I read in the feedlot officer's report that it was non-compliant back in 2017. They had got a non-compliant rating then too. So has it been non-compliant all of that time for the past 6 years? Or just have periods of non-compliance when animal numbers are high?
No, I thought it was compliant in 2017. And just upon their recent walkthrough is when it became incompliant.
Yeah, he has,
Does it say non-compliant?
yep,
then?
on the second page, maybe it's on a different page. Yeah, I thought he gave two dates in there. One that was compliant on one date and then not compliant on the next date in 2017. Thought I had marked that. I
On
can.
5/25/2017, the site received a compliant feedlot inspection.
Okay, a little bit farther along.
It's 2007 is when it was out of
Oh,
compliance.
2007, okay. Where are you seeing that?
It's in here somewhere, but
I thought it was just a bit later the same year.
Mr. Chair, maybe we could ask Alan to come up from Soil and Water.
That could be helpful. Ellen's been around forever. Better state your name for the record.
Alan Ringwelski, Morrison Soil and Water. I did not do a feedlot evaluation until just lately, so I was not out at the site. What really brings the evaluation is because there is a lot of water that comes flowing through and it cleans out the feedlots. And there is a question, the receiving water is a type 1 wetland. And that is questionable with different people on if that's a receiving water or not. I used it, the conservative, and said it was. Most people in the business say that it's a treatment area, but I did use it as a receiving water to be conservative, so.
So is the feedlot compliant today?
Not at this moment, because there is a lot of feedlot and the feeder animals are on there. But by putting the building up, the animals will be moved under a roof. There won't be any runoff from the, there'll be a few animals in there, but it would be compliant with the new building.
Yeah. Would you mind staying up there while we ask the applicant a few more questions?
That's fine.
You can stand for quite a while. Thank you. So 200 animal units or 300 animal units right now. In Ellen's review, it's 302 animal units today. And then another place, the feedlot officer, or asked somewhere, it said there's 200 animal units. I assume there's 200 animal units on the feedlot right now, and the cows are somewhere else.
Correct.
But there are 302 animal units altogether.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Are the steers, or, yeah, the slaughter steers, they're year-round? You keep the facility full? Are they all in, all out? How does
No,
that work?
we sell semi-loads at a time, so one pen holds about roughly 3 semi-loads, and the other pen holds roughly 2 semi-loads. We don't fill the lot up until it's completely empty, and sometimes that could take 2 months before we sell 3 loads. We might sell 3 loads over a 2-month period. We might sell 3 loads right away. We really don't, we usually fill it back up in late September, October for the fall, for next year. So now what's there in there now is there's some yearlings in there that'll probably be ready in February, March in one pen, and the other pen will be roughly next June and July. The one pen we want to get empty so we can bring cows in there, we can bring our cows in there to calve. They'll calve out, we'll bring them back out to the pasture, and probably bring another group of calves in, steers, feeders.
So with the new facility, you won't have to be real concerned about that, those open feedlots.
Correct. I don't plan on feeding any steers in the open feedlots once you get the barn built. The only thing I would like to use the existing pens for is holding areas when we're working cattle and to calve our cows in the spring, which is roughly around 60 days.
So you plan on maintaining the 4 feedlots that you have presently as feedlots,
Yes,
but much less use, obviously.
right.
Thank you.
I lost my sheet. I had another question. Okay.
Yeah, we were given a lot.
Brett,
of
do you have any
information.
questions?
I do not, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So I gotta, go ahead, Marv.
Mr. Chair, I think this one is kind of geared towards Alan, or there was a recommendation about probably putting a tile line, whatever, or maybe Chris can answer that because of the perched water table. Can you explain that a little bit more?
There is, in this soil, there could easily be a hard pan about 3 feet below, and that keeps the water, it doesn't keep it all the time, but doesn't let it go down into below the surface. So they put a tile line below the footings of the building to take any excess water that might come there and make some issues for it. And it's a common practice in our heavier soils in Morrison County. But there's not a lot of water associated with a perched water table.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Dave.
Alan and Christopher, on the picture here, we've got a pretty good grass buffer between the farm and the wetland, correct?
Yeah,
Is that a permanent grass buffer?
yeah. That's a pastured, it's pastured, but that's always in grass.
Okay.
The,
And that's the plans going forward, to always keep that in grass, always
We will
keep that
put
as a buffer?
We'll put a buffer around the building and put a fence around it so the cows out in the pasture would not be able to get to the building, but yeah.
May I add?
Yeah.
The wetland that's down below is meadow, so we do make meadow hay out of that.
And some of it is pasture.
Correct.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I got a list, so hope you're patient.
Do we need to condition it that will always stay that way, or, I mean, it's assumed that it
I
will stay
will,
that
we'll
way?
just, we always on these barns, no matter if it's poultry or a hog barn or this barn, we're just gonna put a condition in it that's 50-foot grass buffer around that. It's just kinda standard, our group kinda does, and sounds like you're gonna do that anyway, so it's no big deal, but that's gonna be probably a condition. Just so you're aware of that.
The grass between there and the wetland. Would we need a condition that would remain a permanent, I mean, they already have it that way.
But if you get out there, Dave, you'll see there's no way they can plow that up, it's
It's
too
pretty
steep.
hilly.
Okay, it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Aaron, you have something?
I was just gonna say, by doing so would change the min farm rating, and if the condition is they gotta have a compliant feedlot, doing that would change that to the
Okay.
point where, so I don't
I
think we have to
assume
worry,
that,
cause that
but,
would,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I just got a couple things, and some maybe don't have bearing and some does. Okay, so just reading through your packet and stuff, you said you bring in, you get like 700-pound calves in the fall, and then you're gonna put them into that slat barn.
Correct.
Okay, this thing's changed, I always understood that you don't wanna put them in there till they're 800-900 pounds, otherwise their feet go bad by the time they're finished.
We have discussed that with barn builders, and we plan on putting rubber mats over the slats to kind of ease their,
Okay,
I guess it's basically like walking on a compost manure pack. It's
Yep.
supposed to give longevity to
Okay.
the animal.
okay.
Yep.
Cause I was just asking, then you're gonna buy some calves probably, you ain't gonna have enough, so you're gonna buy some, so you're gonna target that same kind of weight? Or what
Yeah.
if you have to go down to a 500-pound, are you gonna raise them in that lot for a while before they go into the barn?
No, we, like I said, a few people that we talked to said that they've seen a lot of guys in southern Minnesota that have brought in 500-600 weights and fed them to finish on rubber mats. They didn't think it was that big of
Okay.
an issue. So, and we will probably end up buying some 5 to 6 weights and to spread it out so not all of them come ready at the same time.
Okay. You can sit down, Alan, for now if you want. You don't have to stand there all night. Now, the reason I'm getting to this, because I ask this question at every one of these. So Marvin already kind of alluded to it a little bit. You have 294 acres needed for your phosphorus, and you have 319 acres for your manure management plan. Do you have access to any other land?
Yeah, I spoke with Tim and Terry Zabzalka, and they're more than happy,
Okay.
well, if I needed to get rid
Yep.
of some there. And
Okay.
like I said, I'm sure Marvin
Yep.
would too.
Okay,
I
that's
haven't asked them formally, but
good.
yeah.
So that's all, because I'm just, you're knocking on the door, being
It's
close.
yeah.
And one thing to consider is, when I was looking through here, on the number of animals, but that's why I asked the question, how big they're gonna get them and feed them in open lots or whatever, because that's other manure that maybe ain't figured in the pit barn.
Sure.
Same thing with your beef cows being on them lots, calving them. That's no big deal, but 85 cows, a beef cow produce 54 pounds of manure a day. So if they're there for 30 days, that's 68 ton of extra manure. So that if they're there, which, okay, 68 tons sounds like a huge number, that's not bad. That's not much.
No.
But if they're there for 60 days, now that's doubled. If you gotta bring in some 400 or 500 pounders and put them on the lot, I'm just so looking forward to make sure you get enough land so you don't go over your manure management
Right.
plan. So that's why I was asking how big and what you're gonna put in there.
And we work with Inez's, they take soil samples
Okay.
already every year, and they kind of tell me where, this ground could use a little bit more,
Yeah.
this ground is sitting good. I work with them pretty regular on that already, so.
And then, not that it's real pertinent, but we got some conflicting information. We don't have a picture of, yeah, we do. So, it shouldn't matter on going up on your tiers, but, it's a 70 by 270 building. Then on the plans here, it shows like 171 feet, so.
This plan is just a rough sketch. This
Okay.
is not the exact building, by
Okay.
no means what we're gonna do.
Yep.
I just wanted to give you guys an idea as to
Okay.
what we were looking to build.
That's fine. I was just trying to look because it was like, it shows some outside pit.
Yeah.
You can have outside pit. They're gonna let the water run in there,
No,
you know,
no,
whatever.
no.
Okay. Okay.
It was just basically a rough sketch or a drawing that we found that we could use to give you guys an idea of what we're
Okay.
trying to build here.
Okay. So then one thing too, just knowing from a few people that have some of these pit barns, and I think it would be a beneficial thing, some of that runoff water that you do get from them feedlots, if there's a certain way you can berm it or this or that and run a little bit of that water into this pit barn, some of these have troubles agitating them and getting it pumped out all the way. So then over time, your barn can't hold as much.
Sure.
That'd be probably something to look at and get a way to use some of this water to keep it away. But I look at this, that this is a huge fix for the environmental part of this farm, so, I think that was what I had here. So then, yeah, so if we look at objective A, it's hard to answer that they meet objective A before this proposed, you know. Now with this barn being in there and collecting all that, now we can say that they pass objective A. One more. Right there. Right here. Oh, go back. Yeah, maybe that's, go back, yeah. So objective A, reduce impacts of agriculture runoff from feedlots and farming practices by implementing the Minnesota buffer law on all protected waters and public ditches. So it'd be hard to, move forward, but with this pit like this pit barn type thing, that mitigates some of the problems this farm has had before. So now we can say that they kind of pass all the goals and objectives. So I guess that's all I had for questions. Anybody have any other conditions? I guess the only one I have is kind of what we standardly do is just the condition of the 50-foot grass buffer around the building.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Question for Darren, just a clarification. This is a Tier 2 permit, up to 600 animal units,
650.
650. So we're okaying this plan. If they were to modify this plan, what are the processes that the feedlot officer takes, or that the land services takes?
So this does allow for up to 650 animal units. So yes, if there's additional barns or lots that meet all of the criteria of the ordinance, those would be allowed up to 650 animal units.
But they'd have to have a feedlot review and,
Correct, and be compliant with everything.
Okay.
Yep, in order to do that.
So
Yes.
so basically, what we're granting them today is to go to tier 2. He proposed this barn and showed us this because that, by what he wants to do, helps mitigate some of the problems that were there. But he can have 400 head in that barn, he can go to 650, so he can have other cattle somewhere else. And it's up to the feedlot officer to determine if that's, everything's compliant, so. So basically what we're looking at today is just that we're moving them up a tier. They're asking to be moved up a tier. He submitted his plans on what they want to do, because with the non-compliant feedlot the way it is, we probably wouldn't, before going up to a tier 2. But with this plan he proposes, it just helps, so that's what we're really deciding. We're not deciding on his barn or anything like that, so. Any other questions or anything from the board here? And we'll open it for public comment. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? I'll ask for the third and final time. Any public comment? Not hearing any public comment, we'll close that portion of the meeting to the public. You guys ready to go through our criteria questions? It sounds good. Nobody said nothing, so that means yes. Okay. And then keep in mind, the one condition that we normally do is the 50-foot grass buffer around the building.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Two conditions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We also suggested the open lot be, here, let me pull it up.
Oh, compliant, that's right. Okay, maybe we'll ask Alan this. Okay, Alan, so we just discussed we're mitigating a lot of this, where they're non-compliant because of the runoff from them open lots and that, okay? By building this, proposed building and stuff. So, once that's done, and he has cow-calf pairs for a month, and maybe he has some feeders in a pen here or there, would that still make this operation compliant?
Yes, it would.
Because the numbers would be low enough that the runoff would be not as substantial enough to be at non-compliant, is that correct?
Yes, well, if you reduce the cattle numbers in the lots by a certain amount, it would come in compliant.
Okay. So by us putting a condition that it has to be in compliance, really, they don't have to do anything other than reduce the numbers that they have now.
Yeah, because
Okay.
the feeders will all be in the building, no runoff. The cattle, what I understand, the cows are just there, they calf and they're moved
Yep.
right out onto to the pasture to the north.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so then we'll have the two conditions, to make the open lots compliant, which it sounds like just following their plan will make them in compliance. And then that would be checked periodically by the feedlot officer. And then the 50-foot grass buffer. Okay, question 1. The use will not put excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools. I'll start with that one. Nothing's really gonna change. The feedlot's actually getting farther away from the road. Maybe there'd be a feed truck once in a while more than what they normally have. Maybe a truckload of cattle in and out than normally because they're going up a few animals. Other than that, you're not going to see any difference in this operation. So there is no schools or parks very close. The closest person to them, I had that sheet, was like 890 some feet, and that's a relative. Is that your dad or your uncle?
uncle.
Okay, your uncle. The next, other than family members, 1,200 and some feet. So nothing's going to change enough that there will not be no excess burden on the roads and utilities. Nothing's really going to change as far as the operation goes, other than probably make it just a little more enjoyable. Anybody have anything to add to question 1?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just like to add that one of the maps showed that it's 622 feet from the nearest right-of-way also. So that obviously nowhere near excessive burden on roadways.
Okay, we'll move to question 2. The request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant area. Brent?
Well, it looks like it's a lot of family in the area surrounding this already, so the use and the enjoyment of the property by others is much family farm in the area. We've heard from Marv here about the neighbor, so I don't think that it's going to disturb anything there. Predominant in the area is agriculture. This expansion is ag use in ag zone. And I don't see where it's going to affect any vacant property in the area as well, continuing to use the agricultural production in this manner.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything to add to question 2? If not, we'll move to question 3. The use and opinion of the Planning Commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. Dave?
Yeah, the reduction in the use of the open pits will bring the applicant into compliance. There is a odor offset of 96%. We've typically used 91 as a standard. So it, because of the large distances between them and their neighbors. That's how that compliance is met, that odor compliance. I guess the biggest concern is having a compliant feedlot between now and the building of the barn and the stocking of that barn. And I assume that's up to the feedlot officer to make sure that that happens, so. Yeah, their request meets all of the intentions of criteria question number 2.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add to question 3? That was question 3 you answered, Dave.
Which one did I answer?
Number 3.
I did.
Yep. Okay, we'll move on to question 4. The use is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Marvin?
Yes, I believe it is. Yeah, or does, and it meets all setbacks. It's ag and ag area, and it's also, it's gonna bring a non-compliant lot into compliancy, and so it meets all the intent here.
Anybody else have anything to add to question 4? Okay, question 5. The use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. I'll take that. When I look through our goals and objectives for groundwater and surface water in the county plan, I think it was stated earlier, by implementing a buffer around the barn, their proposed structure they're building, reducing the numbers in the outside lots, that protects that surface water. And then also protects that surface water. It also protects the groundwater. We're gonna have this pit so there won't be no runoff from not only the cattle numbers that they've had originally, but they're going up in numbers. So I think this really benefits not only their farming operation, but the whole neighborhood and the county by going with this plan. And I do think that when they switch over to this pit barn, it helps me to answer the goals and objectives for our groundwater and our surface water. So I would say yes for question 5. Anybody else have anything to add?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dave.
I would just like to add that the current use is in conflict with the comprehensive plan and water plan of the county, but the proposed use is not,
Yeah,
so.
thanks for clarifying. Okay, anything else? You guys ready to vote? Okay, so we had 2 conditions, the 50-foot buffer and then compliance and of the runoff, feedlot runoff, and that's gonna kind of take care of itself, but them are the 2 conditions, I guess. Okay. So question 1, the use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools. Myself, Clint, is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes,
Question 2, the request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding vacant property for uses predominant area. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
yes,
Myself, Clint, is yes. Question 3, the use and opinion of the planning commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. David?
Yes.
Marvin?
yes,
Myself, Clint, is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Question 4, the use is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and the purpose of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Marvin?
yes,
Myself, Clint, is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Question 5, the use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Myself, Clint, is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Okay, looks like all the questions were answered in affirmative. I guess we take a motion to recommend approval with the 2 conditions at this time.
Mr. Chair, I would like that, make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
With those 2 conditions, I
Okay.
would second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to recommend approval to the County Board of Commissioners with the 2 conditions. All in favor say aye. Brent?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Myself, Clint is aye. Okay, we'll recommend to the County Board of Commissioners that they would approve this. That meeting will be November 21st. You can be there if you'd like. If not, some people go, some don't. We don't know the exact time because they got an agenda for that day. But if you got any questions between now and then, or right after that, give Land Services a call and they'll help you guys out.
All right.
Good luck and thank you for trying to make it better.
All right, thank you, guys.
Yep.
Good luck.
Okay, so I guess we gotta approve the minutes from October 17th.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, and I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved. Any new business? I don't know of any. Old business? Don't know of any. Take a motion adjourn.
So I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and second adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Meeting adjourned at 7:17.
Board of Adjustment follows immediately. Yeah, I get a little nervous there.